Full disclaimer, this video is being recorded before the Monday night game between the Bills and the Patriots, so I do not know the results of that just yet. Hey guys, Dick's Report here, back to you with my final video of the year. Week 17 picks, one more game to go before the playoffs, and we still have a lot of playoff spots that need to be clinched. Let's jump right in. Alright, our first game is going to be Atlanta taking on Tampa Bay. For Atlanta, one of the more disappointing teams this year. You thought they could fight for a playoff spot. However, they got off to a really slow start. Fired Dan Quinn midway through the season. Raheem Morris was named the interim head coach, but they have still remained competitive all the way through. While Tampa Bay, in their first season with Tom Brady as the quarterback, is going back to the playoffs for the first time since 2007. They can't win the division. New Orleans has already done that. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay on this one if they play their starters. Dallas is headed to New Jersey to take on the Giants. This is a very important game. If Washington loses their game, the winner of this game wins the division. This is what's sad. We could have a 6-win team have a home playoff matchup. That's pretty sad. But anyway, for Dallas, they lost Dak Prescott early in the season. However, they've been able to get some key wins that kept them in the division. Giants started 1-5. However, they were able to get a winning streak and keep themselves within the division. I'm going to go Dallas on this one. Jets are taking on New England. For New England, they're going to miss the playoffs for the first time since 2008. That's when Brady tore his ACL. It's just been an up and down season for them. While the Jets, it's been nothing but down. They started 0-13. They won their last two. They're locked into the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. I'm going to go with New England on this one. Minnesota's taking on Detroit. For Minnesota, another disappointing team. They had inspirations for making a deep playoff run. However, they got off to a slow start. When they finally picked it back up, it was too little too late. And for Detroit, well, they're still the Lions. Fired their head coach midway through the season. Now they have a lot of decisions to make in the offseason. I'm going to go with Minnesota on this one. Pittsburgh's taking on Cleveland. Pittsburgh was the last remaining undefeated team. However, they lost 3 straight, lost their ability to get the number 1 seed, but they could get the number 2 seed if they win and the Bills lose either the Monday night game or next week. As for Cleveland, win, they're in. They could get in if they lose, but win, you're in. I'm actually going to go with Pittsburgh on this one. They do not want to lose to Cleveland and have them be in the playoffs. Baltimore's taking on Cincinnati. For Baltimore, this is simple. Win, and you're in. Baltimore, they had a 3-game losing streak that you would have thought would have knocked them out of the playoffs. However, they were able to rebound. They've won 4 straight. They control their own destiny. As for Cincinnati, the future does look bright in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, before he got hurt, looked like a franchise quarterback. And Cincinnati, they are still fighting strong, able to pull off a win last week against Houston. I'm going to go with Baltimore on this one. Miami's taking on Buffalo. For Buffalo, they already won the division, but they could get the number 2 seed if they win against New England, which I'm picking them to win, and they are able to win against Miami. So they still have playoff seedings on the line. While Miami, win, you're in. That's simple. I'm going to go with Buffalo on this one because of the cold weather. Miami could be affected by that. Seattle's traveling to San Francisco. For Seattle, they won the NFC West. As for San Francisco, they are a team that's just been decimated with COVID injuries. They have been one of the more unlucky teams throughout the entire season. I'm going to go with Seattle on this one, but I'm not sure if they're going to rest their starters or not. Arizona's taking on the Rams. For this game, winner of this game is in the playoffs. Now, the Rams could lose this game and still make the playoffs if the Bears lose their game. As for Arizona, they have to win if they want to make the playoffs. I'm going to go with Arizona over the Rams. Jacksonville's traveling to Indianapolis. Indianapolis, they have to win and get some help. If they win and Tennessee loses, they get the division. If they win and one of Baltimore, Cleveland, or Miami loses, they get a wild card spot. As for the Jaguars, they have the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, so they're probably going to take Trevor Lawrence. Most likely they're going to take Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to go with Indianapolis on this one. Tennessee's taking on Houston. For Houston, probably the most disappointing team in the NFL. They got off to a very slow start, fired Bill O'Brien. Now they have a lot of decisions to make in the offseason, and the worst part is they don't have a 1st or 2nd round pick because that belongs to Miami. For the Titans, you probably would have penciled them in a few weeks ago to win the division. However, they have not been able to clinch it. They have to win. If they don't win and everybody else does, they're out of the playoffs. I'm going to go with the Titans on this one and say they finally clinch it. Raiders are taking on Denver. For the Raiders, they're out of the playoffs after making so many stupid decisions in the game against Miami. I don't even want to think about that right now. As for Denver, they have been competitive throughout the season. They've got to figure out what they're going to do at key positions during the offseason. I'm going to go with the Raiders on this one. I say they end on a high note. Chargers are taking on Kansas City. Kansas City has already clinched the #1 seed, while the Chargers, Justin Herbert looks like a franchise quarterback. Future could be bright in LA. I'm going to go with KC on this one. Green Bay's taking on Chicago. For Green Bay, they have not clinched the #1 seed yet. Win, they clinch it. As for Chicago, win, you're in. I'm going to go with Green Bay on this one. New Orleans is taking on Carolina. For New Orleans, they still have a chance to get the #1 seed. They have to win and have some things go their way. Carolina, they have fought harder all the year, but the problem is they've had problems finishing games. I'm going to go with New Orleans on this one. And the final game is going to be Washington taking on Philadelphia. Washington, this is simple. Win, you are in. Win, you win the division. Philadelphia has a chance to play spoiler, but I don't think that's going to happen. I got Washington winning this one. Alright guys, those were my picks for Week 17, and I'll see you next time.